The federal government will impose new restrictions on the amount of water Arizona and Nevada can take from the Colorado River.
It's a move that comes in response to intense drought conditions all across the West. Water levels at Lake Mead, for example, that's the nation's largest reservoir, hit historic lows in the month of June. That is a bathtub ring that should not be there. But the newly announced cuts are forcing farmers to make difficult decisions in order to keep their businesses alive. Waylon Wuertz joins us now. He's the owner of Wuertz Gourd Farm in Casa Grande, Arizona. It's the largest gourd farm in the United States. A fact I did not know until just right now. Waylon, thank you very much for being here. You spoke with 60 Minutes last year, in fact, and said that the previous round of cuts would force you to leave about 150 acres of your farm fallow, uncultivated. So did you do that? And how's your farm doing today? And what next? You've got new mandatory cuts, limits on how much water you can have for your farm. How will that affect your business?
Perfect. Well, first of all, it's great to meet with you today. Yes, as far as the fallowing goes, we are currently leaving about 150 to 160 acres fallow this year, since our water cuts from the Colorado River were cut about 90% for this current year. Starting in 2023, our farm and the rest of Pinal County agriculture will not receive any Colorado River water. So that's a huge, drastic cut. And so that is going to be affecting us pretty much as we move forward from here. We're looking at different crops, what to plant. Like I said, leaving a lot of ground fallow. And any way you look at it, it's going to hurt Pinal County agriculture as a whole.
Waylon, I just want to make sure I heard you correctly. You're not going to be able to get any water from the Colorado River?
That's correct. As it sits right now, Pinal County will not receive an allocation of any Colorado River water, which means that the farmers that are still here are going to have to rely solely on pumping groundwater from our aquifer that's already being taxed pretty heavily.
I mean, that's tremendous. The federal government obviously needs to keep the Colorado River from drying up completely. Yeah. But do you feel like that is a step too far? It sounds like you're not going to be able to continue farming your land, at least in the way that you had been.
Well, it's difficult any way you look at it. You know, everybody's kind of all in the same boat. We're all after that water. And right now, you know, it's going to go, unfortunately, to a lot of the, residential neighborhoods, the cities, the tribes, and somebody's got to take the biggest hit. And unfortunately, it's looking like the farmers are going to be taking that biggest hit. Now, fortunately, our farm has 4 deep wells, and we have maintained those over the years. Pumping water is expensive. There's no way around it, but it is wet water. So that is, for the time being, going to be keeping our little family farm alive. We've got a little over 500 acres left. We're leaving about 150 acres fallow, and we'll continue to do that. And it looks like from here on out, we'll be doing nothing but pumping groundwater to keep our livelihood going.
So, Waylon, when you think about the decades your family's put into this industry, into farming, what do you see in the future? Decades in the past, but do you keep farming in Arizona with the way things are going?
We are going to do our best. You know, my family moved here from South Dakota in 1929, and they've all seen their shares of ups and downs, dry years, wet years, and they relied on certain reservoirs such as the San Carlos Reservoir for years, but that's gone dry. They were used to pumping groundwater back then, and then the Colorado came along, and we kind of got used to cheap, plentiful water. But now that it's starting to get lower, we're going to have to switch things. We're going to have to switch to lower water use crops. We're going to have to get smarter with how we use our available water. And it's a challenge. But you know what? I know that our family and I know that our community will figure out something so that we can keep our livelihoods going in this area.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, well, it's tied into climate change, and it is a greater problem than just one particular river, one aquifer. As you said, Waylon, everybody's dealing with this problem. What do you want to see changed, particularly when it comes to at a government level, to approaching this issue?
Well, right now, we can't change how it's going to rain. I mean, drought and wet seasons have all been part of Mother Nature since the beginning of time. But the only thing that I see, and I don't blame anybody for this at all, but we have so many more housing communities moving into the area. And when you look at it as a whole, we've got so many more straws in the bucket that are starting to drain out our precious resource. And communities are going up in a drought-stricken area where you almost like to see the housing just come to a brief stop, until we start getting more water resources back in our area, because it's just not sustainable at this time. And homes are going in left and right, and I don't think our water is going to keep up with the demand.
All right, Waylon Wuertz, thank you for sharing all of that.
Wow.
Best of luck ahead.
Yeah.